In this video, we'll talk about 42nd Amendment Act 1976. The 42nd Constitutional Amendment is also known as the Mini Constitution. It attempted to alter the basic structure of the Constitution and made an enormous number of amendments in the Indian Constitution. The 42nd Amendment Act of the Indian Constitution was enacted in 1976 by the Indian National Congress, led by Indira Gandhi. It aimed to reduce the power of the Supreme Court and High Court for the validity of the constitutional laws and to lay down the fundamental duties for the citizens of the nation. It is one of the most important amendments to the Indian Constitution. The Constitution of India is unique for its content and spirit. The Constitution of India decides the rule of the land and is taken as a supreme law of the land. The Constituent Assembly, which was behind formulating our Constitution, has also given scope for amendment in it with time. Hence, the Indian Constitution of what it is today has undergone substantive changes on account of several amendments. The Act, also called the Constitutional Act 1976, is termed as one of the most controversial acts in the history of amendments to the Indian Constitution, and it was passed during. There were several changes made by 42nd Amendment Act. Amendments of Indian Constitution includes a description of India as sovereign democratic republic, but the 42nd Amendment Act 1976 in the Preamble changed it to sovereign socialist secular democratic republic and the union of nation to union and the nation's integrity. 7th Schedule Part transferred state topics, education, forests, weight and measures, protection of wild animals and birds reserve, and administration of justice, High Court and Supreme Court power to the center and concurrent list. Article 51A introduced 10 fundamental duties of citizens and were added to the Constitution, which was by the people to the nation. Upon the recommendation from the Swaran Singh Committee, citizens' fundamental duties came into the Constitution of India. Abide by the Constitution and respect the national flag and national anthem. Follow ideas of the freedom struggle, protect sovereignty and integrity of India. Defend the countries and render national services when called upon. Spirit of brotherhood preserves composite culture, preserves the natural environment, and develops a scientific temper to safeguard public property and strive for excellence. The Act introduced reduced powers of the President by making them bound to the advice of the Cabinet. They allowed the centre to deploy forces in the state to deal with the conflicting and riot situations against law and order. Special powers were given to the Speaker of Lok Sabha and the Prime Minister. The 42nd Amendment Act reduced the judicial review power of high courts. 3 new existing lists of directive principles of state policy were added and only one was amended. Free legal aid to the poor and equal justice to all. Securing the opportunities for the health development of children. Securing workers' participation in the management of industries by giving them organizational and union powers, and to preserve and safeguard the forest reserves and environment. All these were changes that were made by the 42nd Amendment Act 1976. What was the significant impact of the 42nd Amendment Act? Let's see. These changes had a significant impact on pre-existing model of the Constitution. At the same time, the amendment of the Indian Constitution was majorly about democracy and sovereign nation by taking major powers from state courts and organizations to the centre, concurrent parliament members and the Prime Minister of the country. While other amendments acts set on some particular scale for the amendment in the Constitution, the 42nd Amendment Act broke those scales and squeezed the existing. Constitution tenure was increased by 1 year and the membership of MPs and MLAs could not be challenged in the court but only by the nation's president. Thank you so much.